So is there any way to stop this?
No, that's it. It's on. Don't turn it off. Otherwise there'll be no sound whatsoever on the feed.
Right, I'm shitting myself now, mate. Jackson's not best passer, is he? Where's Chip? Ladies and gents, welcome to the Half Miller Stadium for today's counter between Stanley and Stanley Rangers. We're joined at this time by ex-Bradford Bull legend Michael Banks and Stanley player unfortunately missing out today through injury, Joe Phipps. Michael, just a few words about today's game if you could please.
Yeah, I think Stanley are looking up to pick the first victory of the season up. We've had a bit of a ropey start to be honest, but I think they've got the troops that'll be able to pull them performances in, and they should be doing better than they are at the moment. So I think it's just a confidence thing, to be fair, mate. Yeah, very much so, very much so. I think today could very well be the day where we see the first 2 points. Joe, thanks for joining us. How's the injury?
It's just a little pull, mate, really. We did it doing the 3 peaks for the charity do about 2 weeks ago, and I pulled it again last week playing, but it's just a little pull. It should be alright for next week, hopefully.
Fantastic. Thanks for starting up. What do you think on today's game? How do you think it's going to go?
I think we'll do really well. I've got a lot of confidence in lads. We're bringing Jackson in at front line. He's coming out of full back. We've got a young Jack Vincent on wing. I think he'll come inside looking for work. I think it'll go really well.
Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for Joe. And when are you expecting to be back?
Hopefully next week, obviously. Yeah, hopefully.
Smashing. Great. As you can see, the lads are looking in good form today. Just running through final preparations before we kick off. We're going to head back up to the scoreboard now and we'll see you at half time. Thank you.
And the teams are just about to come out. Stanley Rangers are already out. We'll call their team. And number 1 is Joe Marsh. Number 2, James Bell. Number 3, Jack Shepherd. Number 4, Jack Ledger. Number 5, Daniel Deuce. Number 6, Daniel Grice. Number 7, Neil Ackroyd. Number 8, Mark Robinson. Number 9, Jamie Fox. Number 10, David Brown. Number 11, Richard Catley. Number 12, Liam Crawley. Number 13, Christopher Grice. And on the bench, number 14, John Nuns. 15, Robert Hartley. 16, Lee Brickwood. And 17, Billy Cooper. And the Stanley team will line up as number 1, Jack Brown. Number 2, Josh Roberts. Number 3, Joe Breer. Number 4, Brad Cox. Number 5, Jack Vincent. Number 6, Jackson Green. Number 7, Adam Ben. Number 8, Tom Kent. Number 9, Sean Cooper. Number 10, Lawrence Bell. Number 11, Dean Parker. Number 12, Scott Pascal. Number 13, Jack Sykes. On the bench is number 14, Josh Turner. Number 16, Josh Tate. Number 17, but wearing 20, will be Callum Smithson. And number 17, Liam Duffy. That's the sides, ladies and gents. We'll back to the action very shortly.
I think we're in for quite an interesting contest here today. Stanley Rangers, a well-drilled Division 2 team, been in the Conference League for many years now. Stanley recently promoted last year after a late wonder try from Tom Kent, finally assisted by the hero Jack Sykes. Still waiting for Stanley to come out. We'll be back to you as soon as we kick off.
Today's match sponsor is the Jug and Barrel Public House in Stanningley, where are also our main shirt sponsor. And also our other main kit sponsor is the Abids Contemporary Asian Cuisine Indian Restaurant in Stanningley, and also JT's Lounge and Sports Bar, that is in Putty Town Centre. Great little venue. I'm sure they'll be showing this live. We're about to get underway here at the Arthur Miller. Jack Brown shaping up to kick off this Division 2 clash against Stanley Rangers. Wind already causing some problems, and away we go. Nice deep kick off. Lawrence Belling with the first tackle. Jack Ledger. Alistair McMaster there on the first error of the game. He's actually called a penalty. Sean Cooper giving away the penalty. Loose carry, if you ask me. Chris Grice there, running the ball in. Neil Ackroyd away. Inside ball from Danny Grice to Gareth Rawlinson. Pulled down by Tom Kent and Sean Cooper. Paul shifts out wide to Carl Hughes. He's brought down just inside the 40. That brings up the last tackle. Going down the short side. Chip over the top. Collected easily by Sean Cooper. Is quickly brought to ground. Jack Vincent tries to get away from acting half there, but quickly smothered by three Stanley Rangers defenders. Tom Kent taking it into the middle of the field. Wraps up again very quickly by a solid Stanley Rangers defence. Jack Sykes having a dig. Pricks Stanley into the middle of the field, struggling to get out of their own 40. Nice high kick there from Adam Ben. Chased well. Jamie Bell coming up with the error there. Unfortunately, Brad Cox was deemed offside by the referee. Matthew, any comments?
Pretty even start from both teams here, I feel. A couple of errors. Stanley a bit too eager there to put pressure on the chase. Encroaching on the 10 metres. Led to a Stanley Rangers penalty. Now sees them starting their set inside the Stanley half. Just for all you watching online, if you would like to drop your questions and comments to us at our Twitter handle at STD_network, we'll try and answer your questions during the half-time break.
Chris Grice taking the first one in off the penalty, wrapped up by Dean Parker. Short side again to Liam Crawley. He's brought down by 4 Stanley defenders. Nice shift wide. Bust the line for Jamie Bell. Streaks in at the corner. Great try. Weak defence from Stanley, but brilliant attacking play from Stanley Rangers. Nice simple balls out wide. Running into space, running into gaps. Good rugby.
A Very effective shift there from right to left from Stanley Rangers. 2 link players hitting the lead runner out wide. Easily fended off Stanley number 7, Adam Ben, to score at the corner. Difficult conversion coming up. Scores Stanley 0, Stanley Rangers 4, and we're only 4 minutes into the match. Last time these sides met, a couple of years back now, in 2014. Stanley came out on top over in Wakefield with a 20 points to 14 win. Just seen a successful conversion there by number 6, Danny Grice, taking the scores to Stanningley 0, Stanley Rangers 6. Michael, comments so far?
Yeah, just to reiterate what you said, I think Stanley have looked a bit eager in some stages and a bit lackadaisical in others. Take nothing away from Stanley Rangers, have thrown the ball about well and been the keener of the 2 sides today, I think. Jack Brown shaping up for another kick-off.
So if you were coaches Beryl or Buckler at the minute, what would your comments be to the team?
I think we just need to remain patient. It's only one score. It's very early on in the game. We just need to keep us composure and go back at them. Stick to what we know. Back on his game plan, what they've been taught. When they do that, the trouble teams. It's when they try and play like Fiji and race up out the line in defence and not speak to each other. I think that's when they start to struggle. Nice high kick off. Gives them time to put pressure on the catcher. It's Alistair McMaster there, pulling the ball back in. It's a good send from Stanley. Carl Hughes there, not being able to take him down. Another barnstorming run from Gareth Rawlinson down the short side. Not making much meters, but saps the energy out of the defenders trying to pull him down. Solid defence there from Brad Cox. Tom Kent coming in late to help him out. Nice little play there. Alistair McMaster running the ball in again. Takes him into centre field. Bit better defence this from Stanley. Making them kick out of their own half for the first time this game. Splitting Jack Brown, giving him a little bit of work to do. Good chase. Deals with it well. Both attack and defence, pushing him back. Well done. Adam Bennett acting after Josh Roberts. He's got some pace as this lad. He's found a gap in the defence. Away he goes. He'll do well to catch him. He's going, he's still going, he's still going. He's brought down. Fantastic tackle from Jamie Bell. Brings him down in the 15 yards out. Interference there at the play of the ball from Jamie Bell. Knock on, head and feed to Stanley, I think, I would imagine, yeah. Head and feed to Stanley. Quite possibly a smart move to knock that ball on, to get the defence back set. Matthew?
Very much so, very much so. I think that Stanley did really well there, getting the backs in, relieve the work off the forwards, quick play the ball, speed that ruck up, and they're causing Stanley Rangers some problems in those areas. I think that's where we could see a lot of joy this afternoon.
Definitely, especially with the pace that they've got out wide, with Jack Vincent on one side, Josh Roberts on the other, Adam Ben taking it up the middle from the scrum. Another one who's got a good step on him, a good little pace, quick over 30 metres, could cause some trouble. Lawrence Bell taking a little inside ball off the acting half, 2 metres out. Sean Coops at acting half, Jack Sykes having a dig on his own. Penalty again to Stanley, offside. Stanley Rangers defence a little bit keen there, understandably. Tom Kent charging at the line, scores under the post. Great little try. Not the most beautiful try, but they all count.
Exactly, Michael, exactly. Very slow, methodical work from Stanley. Not the most creative, but like you say, every try counts. It's another try from Tom Kent, coming off the back of a fantastic year last year in Stanley's promotion year. Scoring the winning try in the final seconds at Drigg to take us to win the playoff final. Let's hope Stanley can build from this after a slow start. That takes the score to Stanley 4, Stanley 6. Kick to come. We should be looking at 6-all here. Very much game on here after the opening 15 minutes or so. Successful conversion by Stanley's number 1, Jack Brown. Stanley 6, Stanley 6. Very much game on, Mick.
Very much so. It's always going to be a tight game in my eyes, this one. I know Stanley Rangers haven't had many favourable results this year. They had a good draw last week against Thornhill after a heavy defeat the week before that. So both teams have got it all to play for, and they're all keen to get some more points on that league table.
Yeah, very much so. Both teams scrapping for the first win of the year. Be interesting to see how this one pans out. It looks like we might have a high scoring affair on our hands. So Stanley's number 1, Jack Brown, returning the ball. Stanley starting the set just outside their 30-metre zone. Not a bad place to start a set. More excellent defence from Stanley Rangers.
Kent with another strong run up the middle of the field. Sean Cooper away from match and a half, beats the markers, eventually slammed to the ground by Liam Crawley. Dean Parker off the first receiver, slams into a wall. That is Carl Hughes. Out to Adam Ben, puts a kick up 30 metres out, high bomb, challenge for the ball. Stanley come out with it, but unfortunately once again Stanley a bit too eager from the kick, caught offside. Referee seems keen on the offsides today. Sean Cooper, the Stanley captain there, arguing the toss.
Very pleased to announce that we're joined by the Nicholson brothers of Doncaster, down to watch Stanley this afternoon. Matt, how do you think it's going so far?
I've just got here. It's a very windy day. The breeze could have a big advantage on the game. Stanley look to have started stronger though, getting numbers in the tackles and slowing the Stanley attack down.
As a forward, what would your comments, recommendations be to the Stanley pack today?
Make sure you run with numbers, take flies off you from the defence, and give yourself the best chance of getting that quick play the ball for the team.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time there, Matt. Really appreciate it. Also got Brad Nicholson with us at the minute. Brad, making debut tomorrow.
Aye, time's right out there. Need to get back on the field.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Getting out with under 23s, like, so just brushing a few cobwebs off.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks. We'll catch up with you a bit later, and good luck for tomorrow.
See you in a second, mate.
Thanks for those comments from the Doncaster brothers. Back to the game. Neil Ackroyd, wiry little run there, finally brought down on the 5th and last. Out to centre field, bomb up from Danny Grice, a huge towering bomb, caused trouble for Jack Brown, bit of pressure from the Stanley attack. The referee's called a knock on from Jack Brown. He was under a lot of pressure there, could have helped himself out by jumping, meeting that ball instead of trying to catch it in the traffic. A dangerous scrum here for Stanley Rangers, 10 metres out. Referee's not happy. Out onto this right hand side. Little ball from Jamie Bell there. Lovely little ball to Chris Grice. Brought down 5 metres out. Blind side again is favourable. Stanley wraps him up. Yard shot. Great attacking shape from Stanley Rangers. See what they can do with it. Liam Crawley gets the ball away. Carl Hughes has a dig himself, brought down 9 metres out from the try line. forced offload in the middle of the pitch. It's very rare you're going to come up with any goods with players like that. Matthew?
Some really effective scrambling defence there from Stanley within their own 20-metre zone. Very effective and to nullify that threat from Stanley Rangers. A couple of repeat sets and hard graft in the middle, contain them to the middle of the park. Seems to be working quite well for Stanley at the minute. So hope it continues. We're also joined at this time by Challenge Cup hero, potent try scorer and all-round legend, Paul Smith. Paul, talk us through your thoughts so far, please.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon to all you around the world. So far, so good. I think Stanley look like they could be a stronger outfit and may punish us in the second half, just at fitness and size. But as it stands at the minute, Stanley are pretty well structured, and I think they're doing okay so far, just as long as they can hold on and keep the pressure on and keep the ball in hand and try not to give away any silly mistakes.
Thanks, Paul. Insightful as ever. Michael?
Yep, can't expect much more from Paul, to be honest. Still living on his late 90s try scoring effort at Doncaster in the Challenge Cup.
I think his boots actually went up for auction and sold for £4,600, Mike.
I think that was the Lira.
I think you'll find they're now at Darren Lockyer's house on his front room.
Penalty to Stanley. Lawrence Bell takes the ball in, gets wrapped up by Alistair McMaster. Claims for knock-on. Referees turned it away and give a penalty for interference at the play of the ball. Hands in. 6 of one and half a dozen of the other person, if you ask me. Jack Brown, little kick to the touch line, just makes it in the wind. Touching goal. Drop out on the 20. Some of the Stanley players look a little bit bemused as to why we kicked into a force 9 gale. Nice deep drop out on the 20. Jack Brown takes it. Ball returned by number 1 Jack Brown for Stanley. Lawrence Bell takes it up on his own again. Another interference at the play of the ball. Hands in or loose carry. Toss a coin. Big tackle from Rob Hartley there. Another poor penalty attempt. Not making touch. Gives the ball back to Stanley Rangers. Just outside the 40. Stanley defence having a lot more work to do. Number 17, David Brown, pummeling the ball in. Taking 2 Stanley defenders to bring him down. Great shape from Stanley Rangers. Carl Hughes there taking the ball on with good support from Alistair McMaster, who's thus far proved to be putting a lot of effort in. It's gone back. Sean Coops drops on to effect the tackle, pushing out to the left hand side. Little kick through, bit of work for Jack Brown to do. Copes with it well, beats the first defender, eventually held up. Joe Breer from action half, wrapped up by David Brown and co. Back into the middle of the field. Your thoughts, Matthew?
Yeah, we're looking really strong there, especially considering a few of the lads have gone over to Dusseldorf. So hi to all you viewers in Dusseldorf. Hope you're having a great time. Stanley seem to be a little lost for ideas, if I'm honest. Looking for a little bit more structure, a little bit more patience. Trying to force the issue a little bit too much for me at the minute. A little bit of smart thinking, kicking into the wind to gain 4 yards doesn't strike me as the most intelligent decision, Michael.
No, I've got to agree with you there, Matthew. At times they do look a little bit lost. The shapes there, they just don't seem to be pushing through. Movement off the ball's not as good as it should be. But having said that, Stanley Rangers defence has wrapped it up every single time and been very good. Besides the Stanley try earlier on, the Stanley defence has proved good. Josh Roberts wrapped up here on this left hand side. Brad Cox from Acton half with a little bit of support there from Lawrence Belt. Still going, Brad Cox, good leg drive. Eventually tries to force the offload, and it's a knock on. Scrum down to Stanley Rangers.
Just take this breaking play to thank a few more of our sponsors. Active Workwear, our partners at Abid's, Indian Fine Cuisine, based on Stanley Road, fine eatery if you're in the local area. Also club sponsors the Fitness Mill, the LBBC Group, JT's Bar and Madden's.
Stanley Rangers coming out of their own 12 metres with that scrum from the Stanley era. Richard Catley, I think they're taking the ball away. Lovely little offload from the ground as he was falling there from Neil Ackroyd. Good hands. Very slow play the ball. David Brown, 2 men out. Not afraid to throw the ball about in their own half. Stanley Rangers very confident at the moment. Alistair McMaster again. He's going to have a good stat count at the end of this game. Danny Grice putting the kick in. Don't think he was expecting that. Jack Vincent, young man on the wing there, putting the ball down for yet another knock on against Stanley. Stanley seem to be the worst enemies at the moment, Matthew.
Yeah, very error-ridden at the moment from both teams. Looking to see a bit more creativity, if I'm honest. Not sure what the viewing public think, especially the gents over in Australia. Paul, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's very, very scrappy so far. It's don't make great viewing, but I think it just shows that both teams are struggling in this league at the moment. Just like to give a special mention to Danny Babatty from Renwick over in Australia. I know he's set his alarm and he's up watching, and all the best, kid. Michael?
Thanks for that, Paul. Back to the game, ladies and gents. Well, the scoreline definitely reflects the game so far, 6 apiece. It's a bit of an arm wrestle. Stanley Rangers seem to be winning the arm wrestle, especially on the stats. A few unforced errors coming from Stanley. Defence seems to be holding out well. They seem to be doing a lot of it. Fifth and last coming up here for Stanley Rangers. Ackroyd puts a kick in, Jack Brown fills it very well. Great feat to beat the first defender. A bit of a traitor, Jack Brown's. It's up there from Lawrence Bell. Support there from Joe Breer. Decided not to use it. Runs into a red and white and black wall. Liam, great defence there from Leo Crawley and Alistair McMaster. Jackson Green having a dig on his own. Not seen much of Jackson Green so far. Usually puts himself into the game a little bit more. A little bit of interference there at the Acton half. Penalty to Stanley. I think Stanley Rangers need to clean the rucks up, and I think they'll be error free so far, apart from those. Go for another kick into the wind. He's confident. He made the touch this time. Josh Tate on the field with his shiny new boots. Inside ball to Joe Breers. They won't thank Jack Sykes for that one. I think he must owe him some money there, Matthew.
I think so. Had a big red cross written all over that one. Seems we're missing Mark Dugan from the middle. String of consecutive man of the match performances. His hard work, hit ups in the middle, along with his stag, fellow friend, Tom Dobson.
Great hit there from Dave Brown. Solid hit. Puts Tom Kent to the ground, but gives a penalty away for a high shot, believe it or not. That seemed to G the Stanley Rangers defence up. Lawrence Bell goes on his own, beats McMaster, which, to be fair to him, is probably the first one he's missed all game. Jack Brown has a dig from acting half. It's pulled down a yard short. Sean Coops out of acting half. Great pick up from Adam Ben. Out again to Jackson Green rather. Poor pass in the end to Joe Breers. Couldn't do much about that. Stanley Rangers turn the ball over. I feel the Stanley contingent getting rather upset. Stanley Rangers working hard to come out of their own 10, favouring the short side. I think Stanley are struggling to control the speed of these rucks from Stanley Rangers. They're getting a lot of good yardage just out of beating the markers and getting out of there, the first man out, playing a bit quick. Nice deep kick from Danny Grice, fielded by Josh Roberts. Great feet, wrapped up by number 12 Liam Crawley. Brad Cox away from acting half, beats the first man, beats the second man, keeps on going, takes us onto the 40-metre line, centre field. Jack Brown at action half, looking either way. Stanley Rangers still in the ruck. Jack Brown's on his own in the middle, has a dig, gets brought down by Jack Ledger. Jackson Green going across, high shot there. Nothing malicious, just one of those things. Stepped, stuck an arm out, clipped his ear. And to be fair, Jackson Green's ears are quite easy to catch.
Spoken like a true prop there, Mick. Lazy arm, left in the air. And it's the runner's fault for leaving his head in the way.
Correct. If you want to sidestep a prop, be prepared for getting a clip round the lug. Especially if your ears are as big as Jackson's. Poor attack there from Stanley. Knock on. Cardinal sin in that area of the field. Don't be fooled by the sunshine, folks. There's a bitter wind blowing across the half a miller. Wind is blowing left to right from your screens. Number 2 Billy Cooper there being brought down. Another quick run from acting half. Dean Parker and Tom Kent there to sweep up. Out down the short side. Alistair McMaster busting down the right hand side. Finally dragged down by Jack Brown. Part tackler, part speed bump. Stanley Rangers shift it back to the middle with number 13 Carl Hughes brought down in centre field. Neil Ackroyd at acting half, passes it out to the left. Another one out to Danny Grice, thinks about it, turns around. Ackroyd comes back round, has a dig himself. Finally, is that a knock on? No, the referee is giving it as he's raked it. Which won't please the Stanley coach. Jimmy Bell taking it in off the penalty. Attacking the Stanley line. In on his own. Has a dig. Carl Hughes offloads to McMaster. He's brought up, held up. Stanley defence being caused all sorts of trouble by Alistair McMaster, putting a good stint in so far. I make that around 35 minutes gone. quite a solid arm wrestle. McMaster forces his way over for a well-deserved try. He's put some graft in this half, Matthew. What do you think?
He has, yeah. I mean, that was coming. They've been camped on the line for some time now. McMaster, strong runs, taking the Stanley team forward. Inevitable, I think, Michael, inevitable. Stanley won't be happy, nor will the coaches. So this couple of minutes behind the sticks will give him a bit of an opportunity to regroup and come back fighting. That makes the score Stanley 6, Stanley 10 with a kick to come. Probably looking at 12-6. Not the half that Stanley wanted.
No, I think Stanley's downfall is as good as the defence has been in stages. They've done that much of it that they're just tired. So it's inevitable that you're going to get scored on if you don't have the ball. I know it's a simple analogy, but if you turn the ball over that many times and you're defending on your own line, statistics say that you're going to get scored upon, especially when you've got people like Alistair McMaster charging the ball, and he's been strong right from the get-go. Good kicking game from Danny Grice again, converting the try, taking the scores to Stanley Rangers 12, Stanley 6, just on this side of the half-time. Do you think Stanley can claw anything back before that break?
Based on current performance, I'd probably say not, Michael, if I'm honest. Bit disappointed. I think a few individuals need to have a good look at themselves at half time. The effort is there, the actual quality, I'm afraid, isn't at the moment. Really need to work on the basic core skills: respect for the ball, respect possession, build pressure, and then try and strike, rather than trying to overplay things too early, leaving yourself exposed and having to do a mountain of defence on our own line.
Correct, yeah. Can't disagree with that, Matthew. Stanley defensive line a bit slow up from the kick-off. Jackson Green getting there first to bring down Conor Morgan on the 20. Pass out there to Richard Catley. Substitution for Stanley after the try was Liam Duffy takes the field at number 17. He was replaced Scott Pascal in the back row. Seems to be a bit of a fracas on the field. Handbags at dawn.
Dominant tackle there from Stanley that's led to a bit of a fracas at the ruck. Seems handbags have been thrown, nothing more in it.
I think the only thing missing there, Matthew, was a bit of mascara and lipstick.
Embarrassing it really was, Michael.
There was lots of choice words said. Can't be heard in a playground, I think.
Joined again at this time by Joe Phipps, out injured, failed the late fitness test. Joe, your thoughts, please?
They're doing alright. It's just in bits where just sloppy defence, just dropping off tackles, especially out wide. I won't say any names, but Adam Ben. But yeah, other than that, just need to step up in attack, just go forward. And they're running around like headless chickens at points, but he can't take away from Stanley. They're doing well.
Very simple game, very simple philosophies. Done right, done well at pace. It's not that difficult, is it, Joe? You're quite right. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks for your comments, Joe. Back to the game. Stanley Rangers on the attack again, coming out of their own half. Don't seem to be having any problems in yardage plays. Getting out of their own half strong. Carl Hughes there, bumping tackles off. Finally brought down by Josh Tate. 8 minutes to go before the half, I'm just told. Jack Vincent feels a small kick. Could have been a bit deeper, if you ask me, for the Stanley Rangers side of things. Jack Vincent bangs it in. Jack Sykes takes the ball in on his own again. Stanley seems to be lacking a bit of support in attack, which is allowing Stanley Rangers to get numbers into the tackles, slow the rucks down. Liam Duffy in there for his first touch of the ball. Does quite well. Gets dominated on the floor. Last one up. Jackson Green finds Jack Brown out the back. Dean Parker out in the centre. Gets an arm free. Tries to force the offload. Has a second think about it and knocks on. They seem to be struggling to get past Stanley Rangers 20 at the moment. Matthew, without an error.
Yeah, just going back to the same point as before, really. We're lacking a bit of patience. Need to show a bit of patience, build this pressure, force Stanley Rangers to making decisions in that defensive line, and the holes will appear. We're just trying to force things a bit too much at the moment.
Yes! Knock on!
Nice Stanley coach Stan Bell there, getting rather aggressive. Linesman picks the knock on up from the back of the scrum from Stanley Rangers, giving Stanley a bit of reprieve. Starting the set in Stanley Rangers 20 for the first time, I think, in this game. Let's see what they can do. A couple of Stanley players concerned with how long's left to the half time.
Should be more concerned with what they're doing on the pitch, Michael.
Agreed. Jack Brown again, out wide off the back of the scrum. Stanley lined up on this left side, rather shallow. Jack Sykes, at first receiver, onto Josh Tate. Gets slammed unceremoniously into the ground. Adam Benn out the back, and Jackson Green has a dig on his own. Turns it back inside. Josh Tate, inside ball to Jack Sykes. Stanley Rangers defence proving hard to beat. Jackson Green out wide. Scott Pascal back on the field. Josh Turner just off the bench in at acting half. Nice deep ball out to Jackson Green again for the last tackle. Tries to put a little dig through. Got swept up out the back by Stanley Rangers fullback Jamie Bell. Knocked it into dead ball for the dropout.
5 minutes to half time, Michael. Scores still Stanley 12, Stanningley 6. If we're looking for positives from the first half, what are you thinking?
We'll keep looking.
Yeah, I think one of the positives from the first half as a viewer is Stanley Rangers' defence has been quite solid. Stanley's effort has always been there. I just think that I think some of the players are misplaced. We need to get better shape, more support, just to give the ball carriers a little bit more time on the ball. Take some of them defensive players away from them. Give them a bit more time, and not try and force the error.
Just as they've done there. I think the only positive from a coaching point of view is that they can play a lot better. Hopefully, stern word at half time. Few changes, maybe a change of structure, change of emphasis, something to shake things up a little bit, and hopefully we can get back into this. Positive, I suppose, is we're only 6 points down.
Yeah, it's very much achievable to come back. I think the last game we've played was on the 7th of June a couple of years ago, when Stanley actually beat Stanley Rangers 2014 by the way of a late try. So I don't think there's ever been a runaway scoreline when these two sides have met. So it was always going to be an arm wrestle. I think hopefully some of the bigger players for Stanley Rangers will tire in the second half, and some of the quicker players that we've got, like Jack Vincent, like Josh Roberts, Adam Benn, can take advantage of those bigger guys and hopefully have a bit more mobility and get round them. But obviously we've got to get into the position where we can exploit that. Penalty there for pushing at the ruck, which is another penalty at the ruck from Stanley Rangers. Out watch Adam Benn out the back to Jackson Green. Dean Parker, poor pass really from Jackson Green out wide. Brad Cox back to Adam Benn in the middle of the park. Shapes a kick, gets brought down right in the middle of the field. Josh Turner at acting half, hands it on to Josh Tate. He's brought down by 3 Stanley Rangers defenders. Late ball to Joe Breers, who was absolutely slammed by number 16 Rob Hartley with a headgear. Great tackle. Little kick through. Little kick through. It's come off a Stanley Rangers defender. And Stanley have knocked on field in that field, and they've also been marched up the field 10 metres for chelping.
Just watching the game, how Danny Grice, the Rangers 7, how he organises his troops. I think that's the difference between the two teams at the moment, that we've Stanningley haven't got anybody in the park really dictating the game for them and showing them where to run. Defensively we're pretty solid, but the shape in attack is very weak at the moment, very flat and one-out rugby. What do you think, Matt?
It's back to core skills for me, just as we hit half-time. Takes the scores: Stanley Rangers 12, Stanningley 6. Just getting back to that point, Michael, the core skills for me, fundamental core skills that you'd expect an open age team to demonstrate frequently, I think are missing for me at the moment. Controlling the ruck, controlling the tempo, finding the floor well. I think we're missing a few key elements there, and hopefully the coach is going to address that at half-time.
Yeah, I think you've got a good point there, Matthew. I think a lot of the players, they're trying too hard. They're trying to create something every time they touch the ball. They're trying to either make a break, bust the defensive line, or even score a try. And rather than, like we said earlier, being patient and building the pressure like Stanley Rangers have done and putting some good kicks in, I think Stanley needs to just calm down a bit, start building the pressure, stop trying to force offloads. Just because there's somebody there in support doesn't mean you say you have to use them. We need to be a lot smarter.
So, as promised, ladies and gents, we've been active on our social media. A few questions for the lads. I'm joined at this time by Joe Phipps, injured back rower, obviously Michael Banks, your lead commentator, and Paul Smith, Challenge Cup legend. Question one that's come in, I'll put this your way, Joe. What should Stanley be looking to do differently in the second half?
As Mick said, they just need to concentrate on their own job. They're all trying to do too much. They just need to concentrate on their own jobs. Run your own angles and stop your silly offloads, trying to get the ball away, like he says. If the man's coming inside, you don't have to give it. Just take the tackle and move on to the next one. You don't have to score off every play the ball.
Excellent. Question two that's come in. What's the best place to eat around Leeds? Paul, I think that's one for you, pal.
Obviously Rayman's Pizza Shop down on Summerfields. Quality cuisine, especially the chicken madras. Can't go wrong. Couple of chapatis, lovely. Joe, you'll know a few things about curries, won't you?
Well, for a kiddie, it's got to be Zook on Leeds Road. But my personal favourite restaurant at the minute is Thai Sun, just off Ricky Lane in Pudsey. Yeah, lovely. Finest.
Smashing.
Let's have a wander down to the pitch. Let's go check what it's like on terra firma, see if it's been cutting up. Let's go have a quick chat with some of the fans. So lads, we're live all over the world right now, so what do you think so far to the first half performance?
I think Ron Weasley should be better off back at Hogwarts where he's refereeing.
Controversial. Let's just hope this sun don't come out too much.
I know it's giving me a bit of a sunset.
As you can see, ladies and gents, capacity crowd here at the Half Miller today. I think that's the point one of the fans are making now. It's just being a bit error-ridden, I think, at the moment. Hoping we see a changed team in the second half. Let's have a look, see if we've got another question from our social media. Paul?
Just a quick question on who the try scorers were at the minute. So far it's been Jamie Bell, the Stanley Rangers player, and Alistair McMaster. They've both gone over for a try, and Tom Kent's gone over for Stanley. So it's there's nothing in it really, do you know. Turn around this second half, bit of wind behind us, put them down into corners, try and force the error, and just be patient. Just got to be patient this second half.
just while we're in this break, it's probably a good time to thank again all our sponsors. Been blessed this year. A lot of our sponsors from last year have re-sponsored, allowing the lads to be kitted out properly and looked after. Being the prima donnas some of them are these day and age, it's nice to be able to buy them the clobber that they need, or claim to need. Paul?
Yeah, it's great to have these sponsors. I know a special mention to Glenn Binger down at Bay Horse, who we're going to try and stream the game live in the Bay Dreams today. Rodley Carpets, I mean, they're fantastic sponsors. You know, you just can't. Old lad, Mark Adams, you know, ex-Stanningley lad, and he supports the club every way he can. Crown and Anchor down at Rodley, another fantastic sponsor. You know, we do like to be sponsored by pubs mainly because we get cheaper beer. If there's any more pubs who would like to sponsor us,
And we can return the thanks, can't we?
we can return the thanks by drinking in your establishments. Any other restaurants, anything like that, want to sponsor us, you know, we'll gladly come eat there.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Now we're live to the millions around the world. Your brand could be published on air every week. Let's take a bit of a walk, Paul. So Stanley Rangers deciding to stay out at half time. Stanley, the more traditional approach, going in back into the sheds. If I'm honest, I think it's good for the crowd not to see what's going on. Some of the language might not be acceptable for TV, so we might not be picking that up. Paul, I think Paul's going to try and get a word with one of the players.
We're going to have a wander over and see if we can have a chat to some of the Stanley Rangers fans. Ground's drying up nicely, it's quite hard underfoot. Sun's beaming now.
A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the outside bar is open, bottles only, from the finest selection available in the local area. Please don't be sorry.
Let's go over and have a chat with some of the Stanley Rangers people. Afternoon, lads. Being filmed all over the world right now. So Australia to LA, cameras up and things. So you're live on air now. What do you reckon to the first half?
Yeah, it's not too bad so far. We've been defensive for 80% of the game, which needs to pick us errors up, that's all.
Yeah, it's been an interesting game how Stanley seem to be lacking a little bit of structure, whereas your half-backs are dictating the game a lot, putting Stanley under a lot of pressure, a lot of tackles to do. So it may show in the second half. We'll see how it goes, eh?
Yeah, we should pick it up now.
Best of luck, lads.
Thanks, mate.
So I wander back past Stanley Rangers, lads. Let's just hope they don't give me a crack on way past. It's quite a big difference size-wise between Stanningley and Stanley. How do you think first half's come at?
Yeah, not too bad. Can't grumble. We're winning for a change, so can't grumble.
Good effort for the first half, so second half I'd like to hope Stanningley a win, but both teams are having a good game so far.
Yeah, good hard game, and I hope you're wrong.
Cheers, mate. It's being beamed all over the world right now, is this? It's from that camera up there. Let's have a wander back over to it, lads. Nearly start a second half. You lads who've managed to stay up in Australia, you can manage to keep your eyes open, a bit of Pro Plus maybe will keep you going. Long walk from over there, out of breath now. Let's make his way back up to the other commentators. Good chat with the Stanley Rangers there, Matthew.
Yeah, very good, very good. Always interesting to get both points of view. How is it they were feeling?
They're quite pleased with the first half. They think they're playing really well. They just want complete sets.
More of the same then, I assume.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit worried that Stanley are going to come out a bit more fired up this second half. They said they were getting a bit angry towards the end of that first half there.
Great, well thanks for doing that for us, Paul. Just going to take this couple of minutes before Stanley head out back to the field, just to look back a couple of weeks, Mick, and the fantastic event that Jamie Peacock and Mark Adams arranged down at the club for charity, raised over £10,000 by all accounts.
Yeah, great event. Jamie Peacock playing his final game of rugby league for Stanningley, the club where he started. Also, he was against a good local rival of ours, Milford Marlins, who had a couple of ringers in, namely Adrian Morley. But yeah, it was a great game, played in great spirit, great event all day, raised a good amount of money for Wheatfields Hospice, who we know looked after Jamie's dad Darryl, and also we raised a good amount for a charity called SICRA, which looks after children with Crohn's and colitis. One of our members' sons, Josh Anderson, who was afflicted by that terrible disease. So yeah, it was a great day. Everyone had a cracking day. We made some great money. Big thank you to Mark Adams of Rodley Carpets for being instrumental in organising that. So we're going to get back to the game any minute now when we find a ball.
Thanks for that, Mick. Yeah, I think it's really important to note the hard work that goes on from the club day to day. There's a lot of people behind the scenes, the sort of the foundation of amateur rugby league, the likes of your Brian Sowdens, your John Popperwells, the people that don't want any thanks for what they do, but just do it for the love of the game. Whilst we're still waiting, just to inform our viewers, 29 of the Stanley lads attempted to do the Yorkshire Three Peaks in what were horrendous conditions. Horrific. Driving winds and rain. Miserable, and probably I consider that one of the top 5 worst days of my life, if I'm honest with you. A big chunk finished, 25 I think. How did you enjoy it, Mick?
I didn't enjoy it at all, mate. Not at all. Less said the better, although we did raise a great amount of money again for charity, £1,500 for the BTRS Brain Tumour Support Group. There's not much more I can say at that. Horrible weekend, but for a good cause. Stanley Rangers get us underway for the second half. Adam Ben fields it just in between his legs, kept hold of it. Jack Vincent in at acting half, breaks away. Dragged down by Richard Catley, just outside the 20. Joe Breer in at acting half, away he goes. Could do with a little bit of push, bit of support. Joe Breer makes a good 8 metres. Steals another metre at the play of the ball. Adam Ben hands it on to Lawrence Bell, who's proved quite strong this season so far, Matthew.
Yeah, he seems to be working really hard. I mean, I've only spotted a couple of games, to be fair, this year out of the 3. But Lawrence, really hard grafter, no nonsense, doesn't try and overplay anything. It's really stripped back to basics with Lawrence, but like you say, the hard work's there and it's showing on the pitch.
That's right. Not a great kick there from Jackson Green on the last tackle. Stanley Rangers filled it on the 20, made a further 10 metres to bring them onto the 30, eventually brought down by the kicker Jackson Green. Away from acting half again from Stanley Rangers, favouring beating the markers. Out to the middle of the field. Number 14, John Nunnins. Ball down. Stanley hand in there involved. Penalty to Stanley Rangers. Bang on halfway line. The wind's dropped slightly this half, so that should favour Stanley Rangers as the wind is blowing from left to right as you look at it. Was quite strong in periods in the first half. Makes touch comfortably on the 30 metres.
Just in front of us.
Neil Ackroyd with the tap. Takes the ball out to Richard Catley, rather. Good defence there from Liam Duffy on his own at marker.
Just going back to Liam Duffy, seems to have bulked up in his short time over in Australia, Mick.
Yeah, it's all that horrible beer and barbecues, and all that, kangaroo steaks and bush tucker. Good attacking player from Stanley Rangers, moving right to left. Strong run there from Chris Grice. Attempts the offload. Ends up being a knock on. Scrum down to Stanningley. Bit of a let off there, Matthew, do you think?
Yeah, out of jail again there. Looked really dangerous from that right to left shift. It's the second or third time we've seen it today. First resulted in a try. Second one, repeat pressure on our own line, and this time, like I say, got out of jail a bit there. So thankful the referee has made a bit of a dodgy call, if I'm honest.
We've got to take him when we can. Brad Cox away from the base of the scrum. Wrapped up in the middle of the park. 10-15 metres out. Sean Coops in at 8.5. Finds Dean Parker. Nice quick play of the ball. Catches the marker, not square. Penalty to Stanley. Stanley dishing out a bit of Stanley Rangers' own medicine from the first half there, getting a quick play of the ball. Likes the sound of his own whistle at stages as a referee. Lawrence Bell didn't know whether to run or what. Ends up making a good 30 metres. Adam Ben onto Scott Pascal. Poor offload. I think he saw his mum in the crowd. Tried passing the ball to her. Come down, head and feed to Stanley Rangers. Out there to Jamie Bell, takes the ball in. He's wrapped up by Jackson Green and Dean Parker. Out onto the far side.
And the crowd's dwindled a bit here, Mick. Seems the club have put the live stream on inside. Big shout out to Gemma and Nick Staveley in the clubhouse. Thanks for joining us. We'll battle the weather so you don't have to.
Carl Hughes out on the far right hand side, taking the ball in. Finally taken down by Jackson Green again. Good defensive display. Kick in there from Stanley Rangers. It's looking to go dead. Will it hold up? It does. Jack Brown's got some work to do to get out of his own 10 metres. Does so, beats the markers out onto the far side of the field. Finally wrapped up by two defenders. Slow play of the ball there. Josh Roberts could do with a little bit more space than that. He's not the heaviest of guys, but he's quick, so obviously needs a bit of space to run in. Sean Cooper opts to go blind, finds Dean Parker out on his own, but does well. Gets a quick play of the ball, leaves two defenders on the floor. Little dummy there from Sean Cooper, has a dig on his own. Jackson Green finds Adam Ben, finds Scott Pascal stood. Can't do much with that, just gets wrapped up. Coops finds Adam Ben again, puts a little kick in. Winger cleans it up well. Danny Deuce.
It seems, Mick, that Stanley have come out a little bit brighter than they have in the first half, hoping to see a bit more effort. Just need to, like I said, like we said in the first half, get back to respecting that ball, respect the possession, build the pressure, and the points will come, I think, especially with this tiring, large Stanley pack.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff, Dan Berrell and head coach Dean Buckler, read them the riot act at half time, give them a bit of a dressing down, one or two players. I don't think that damages anybody every now and then. Everybody needs a good telling off every now and then. And they seem to come out a bit brighter. Stanley Rangers seem to be a little bit slow out of the blocks, but still going really well. Kicking there. Claims for a 40-20 there. Not sure how that looked on the screen, but it was definitely alright this end for me. Let's see what Stanley can do. A couple of completions of sets. Build a bit of confidence, build a bit of pressure, see what I can do with it instead of defending all the time.
Very much so. Dean Parker, Stanley second rower, moved in from the wing, get a bit more action, taking the first drive in, making a good couple of yards. Great line from Jack Sykes again round the ruck. I think if we can speed those rucks up, they're going to let a lot more joy, a lot more yardage. The main thing for me is running with numbers, run with some push. It's Lawrence Bell taking a drive in there for Stanley on the fourth tackle. Drops off inside to Scott Pascal, who's offloaded the ball dubiously forward. Reached the last tackle. Stanley made 20 metres, very limiting set. Good defence from Stanley Rangers there. Good kick from Sean Cooper from acting half back to find touch.
Yeah, just off your screen, ladies and gents, Dean Parker's been brought off the field by a physio. Looks like a dead leg. Sure, any other man would run it off. Dean's a bit of a drip.
I think so. I don't know if the camera can catch that, but I think that's his spine on the far left hand side of the pitch.
Bless his cotton socks. Used to go a whole school day with a dead leg. Stanley Rangers on the ball, coming out of their own 30. Good it there from can't see who that is. McMaster again there for Stanley Rangers. Strong as ever. Great ball. Stanley Rangers, number 6, Danny Grice hitting the gap. Kind of running to a cul-de-sac, didn't know what to do. Stood the ball up, waiting for support. Ackroyd gets the offload. He's dancing around a bit to Jamie Bell. Stanley struggling to deal with it. Fans claiming they can do better. Finally brought down on the 20. Danny Grice, wide ball out. Inside ball. Brought down on the 10. Quick play of the ball. Out to Richard Catley. Turns it inside. Adam Ben's there to sweep it up for Stanningley. Finally brought down by Chris Grice. Joe Breers on his own again from acting half. He's brought down by Rob Hartley. Jack Brown at acting half. Takes it out, catches his defenders offside. Substitution for Stanley. It's number 3, Joe Briers coming off. He's replaced by number 20, Callum Smithson. Usually a standoff.
Looks like a bit of a reshuffle for Stanley. Jack Brown looks to be heading out to the centres, pushing Jackson Green back to fullback. Callum introduced in the halves. Maybe the change that we're looking for, Michael.
Maybe so. He's used to playing there, is Callum. He had a bit of a dip in form in the last couple of weeks, but he's been playing well for England students. Got selected for the England students representative team, and he's got a great kicking game. Hopefully can make use of this win this half, kick Stanley Rangers into their own half. Hopefully can organise some better attacking pieces. Let's see what Stanley can do with this penalty. Scott Pascal plods it in on his own. That reshuffle there has caused Adam Ben to be pushed out into the centre, and Callum Smithson moves into scrum half. Penalty there for pushing from Stanley Rangers. I'm not sure what went on there. Penalty to Stanley. Out wide to Josh Tate, takes the ball in, wrapped up by 3 or 4 Stanley Rangers defenders. Back inside. Liam Duffy takes the ball in. The wind's picking up a bit. Callum Smithson out the back to Jack Sykes, out the back again to Jackson Green. Hits into the centres. Stanley Rangers defenders trying to force him into the touch. Unsuccessful this time. Aaron Ben has a dig, gets wrapped up by two Stanley Rangers forwards. Shot down the blind side from Sean Cooper. He's wrapped up by Alistair McMaster and Billy Cooper. Smithson takes the line on, out wide to Jack Brown, steps inside. He's brought down to ground on the 5th and last for the handover. Stanley Rangers attacker there, taking it out into touch. Just as the snow starts to fall in Stanningley, believe it or not, ladies and gents. We're knocking on to May and it's starting to snow. Stanley in a good attacking position, 2 metres out wide to Callum Smithson and again to Josh Tate. Has a dig, gets wrapped up by 3 Stanley Rangers defenders. Blindside shot, short pass into Josh Roberts outside, sneaks in just inside the corner flag for a Stanley try. And that'll take the score to Stanningley 10, Stanley Rangers 12, Stanningley 10. Typical summer conditions, summer rugby, just starting to snow. Freezing cold. Conversion attempt coming here from Callum Smithson, right on the touchline. Unlucky. Missed conversion to scores remain Stanley 10, Stanley Rangers 12. Danny Grace gets us back underway. Jack Brown fielding it, Just hands the ball on to Liam Duffy, takes the ball in strong. He's brought down by Liam Crawley. Short side play to Brad Cox, makes some good meters. Played well this far, Brad Cox. Short ball, Josh Tate. He's wrapped up by Gareth Rawlinson and caught. John Nunnings sticking around trying to get his stats up. Tom Kent drives the ball in on his own again, no support. John Nunnings in again. Colin Smithson puts a kick in, puts boot to ball. Chases on, Billy Cooper goes to field it. Can Adam Ben catch him in field? No, great work there from Billy Cooper. Stanley are going to have to make Stanley Rangers work hard here if they want to stay down this end of the field. Danny Deuce takes the ball in, comes in for a bit of work off the wing. Ackroyd at acting half, hands the ball on, Carl Hughes. McMaster hands the ball on, receives it back. Hazagard brings up the last tackle, 30 metres out. Great defence from Stanley that set. Still a good solid set from Stanley Rangers. Finds touch.
But looking at the man of the match so far, who do you think stands out for you? I think McMaster for Stanley Rangers has put in a good solid performance. Good defence, plenty of metres forward. I'd like to see his stats. Must be well over 100 metres made so far.
I'd say so, Paul. I think the number 7 for Stanley has had a great game as well. If you're looking at the home team, Lawrence Bell seems to have run his blood to water. Feeling the pace of the game in the minute. Jackson Green, can't look far from him. Ever willing. Speaking of the devil now, an excellent break through the middle, making at least 20 metres for Stanley. Good play of the ball, catching all the Stanley Rangers players offside. Excellent work again from Jackson. Mick, your thoughts?
Yeah, Jackson Green's been playing at stand-off, not his natural position, usually plays at full-back. Likes to run into the line out the back, a bit rangy. I think when he's let to do that, he puts in some good performances. And when he's took the line on today, he's looked dangerous. Brad Cox, another one. He's took some good ball in today. Just gets wrapped up 20 metres out. Gareth Rawlinson with a tackle. Callum Smithson hands it out the back to Jackson Green again, where he's usually naturally found out at full back. Adam Ben out in the centre, wraps it up. Jack Vincent in at acting half has a dig. Gets wrapped up by John Nunnings. Sean Cooper away from acting half, has a dig down the short side. Josh Turner puts the ball down, line begging. It's harder not to score.
I think the positives, Mick, the breaks are starting to happen. As predicted, Stanley Pack seem to be tiring slightly. Stanley find a lot more joy around that ruck. Speed of the ruck's a lot better, causing all sorts of danger for Stanley. Chip?
Yeah, I think the introduction of Callum Smithson's made a big difference. He's dictating the players around the pitch, finding the odd gap now and again, especially with a tiring big Stanley team. So hopefully there's only about 10-15 minutes to go that we can try and capitalise off it. Not long left though. Need to start making some inroads.
Carl Hughes, short ball there, out to the centre. Great line, good defence from Stanley. Jack Ledger, always been busy around the ruck today for Stanley Rangers. That brings up the fifth and last for Stanley. Kicking it Kick in there from Danny Grice. Kind of splits the back three. Jack Vincent finally fields it in his own in goal. Manages to just squeeze out into the field of play for the first tackle. Jackson Green at acting half. Tries to beat the first receiver. Doesn't. He's brought to ground. Josh Turner at acting half. Little pass. Fades to pass. Gets wrapped up by the markers. Penalty to Stanley Rangers. Josh Turner waving his arms around, appealing for penalties. Cricket-esque false call penalty. It's the first penalty I've ever seen for waving your arms around, I must admit. Matthew, have you ever seen one of those?
No, I think he's a bit of an attention seeker, this referee, if I'm quite honest, Michael. Seems to be all about him, not letting the game flow as it should. Power mad, some might say.
Some might, correct. Roughly about 10 minutes to go, folks. The scores are still locked at Stanley Rangers 12, Stanningley 10. Forward pass there from Stanley Rangers. In a good attacking position, seems to have gone to waste. Real let off for Stanley.
I think we've been fortunate there today, Michael. A couple of let-offs. Stanley Rangers had some good position in our 20 numerous times. Luckily, not been able to make the points. The need to push this out of sight. Just as I speak, another knock-on by Stanley, handing the ball back over to Stanley Rangers.
Yeah, Jackson Green's tried to turn the ball back over and rake it one-on-one, but referee's gone back to the knock-on. Obviously, it's an attacking scrum for Stanley Rangers, 10 metres out, very dangerous position. Like you say, Matthew, Stanningley have been really fortunate that a lot of these players in our 10 metres haven't come to fruition. So let's see how we deal with it. Carl Hughes out of the scrum there. Gets wrapped up. Jack Brown. Brad Cox lending weight. Danny Deuce takes the ball in from the wing. Gets driven back by Lawrence Bell. Tom Kent with a hand in. Ackroyd at action half to Danny Grice. Inside ball. Turns it into David Brown. He gets brought down. The Stanley player injured in backfield. Looks like Lawrence Bell. I think Stanley's physios run as many metres as some of the players today.
If you're the coaches at this stage, Michael, going into the final sort of 7-6 minutes maybe, what changes would you make? Push this one over the line and hopefully get Stanningley the first win of the season.
Personally, I don't think making changes at this late stage will do any good. I think there's only so much you can say to your team, and I think they've got to take a bit of responsibility themselves. The coaches can't play the game for them from the sideline. They've got to do as they're told, basically. They need to settle down. They need to play with a bit more patience, and they need to do as they're told, basically, which they aren't doing. They're not allowing themselves to do that because they're coming up with silly unforced errors, poor passes, silly little knock-ons. I think they're their own worst enemy at times. Don't get me wrong, at times Stanley Rangers haven't let them do things. They've defended very well, but they haven't offered much in attack, Stanley Rangers, to be quite honest. They've got a good shift, but there's nothing much at the end of it. Stanley have dealt with that at times, but we're defended for that long periods that we're just tired and people aren't in position to defend properly.
Another lucky escape, Paul?
Yeah, like you were saying with the last few minutes to go, I think Stanley going to have to start throwing caution to the wind, maybe a little kick over the top for Josh Roberts to chase. He's a very fast, pacey winger. One of the leading try scorer last year as well, I believe. But Stanley come out of the own half now. Is it going to be the one-up rugby that we've seen most of the game, or are we going to see a little bit of inventiveness come from the half-backs maybe?
Time will tell, Paul. Time will tell. Sean Cooper acting half. Looks to find Josh Turner. Ends up finding a penalty with some of the Stanley Rangers players late to get back on side. A couple of more rotund players struggling. And again, referees allowed play on. Still aren't back on side. Tom Kent looks for a quick one, but the referee slows it up. He's back on side. Sean Cooper takes a penalty and gives it to Brad Cox. A little bit of push from Josh Roberts. And again, shape very narrow from Stanley. Lawrence Bell recovered from his injury earlier, miraculously. Takes a good charge in. Alistair McMaster there giving a penalty away. A little bit of interference at acting half. Letting himself down after an otherwise brilliant game. Referee having a word with Danny Grice. Telling us to clean the rucks up. Penalty to Stanley. Josh Tate takes the ball in. Jackson Green pushing forward. Sean Cooper away quickly from acting half. Gets finally wrapped up by Gareth Rawlinson, I think it is. Callum Smithson takes it at first receiver, finds Jackson Green out the back, and finds Adam Ben, who pokes his nose through, sneaks through in the corner for a nice try for Stanley. Finds Jackson Green out the back, little ball, beats the first defender Adam Bent, dives in at the corner, taking the scores to Stanley 12, Stanley Rangers 12, with a kick to come. My apologies, Stanley 14, Stanley Rangers 12. With a kick to come.
Looks like we've made a snatched victory from the jaws of defeat there. There's only a couple of minutes left. Stanley Rangers are probably going to go for a short kick-off, so it's going to be very, very cagey for these last couple of minutes, I think.
Yeah, it's usually the other way around. We usually snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, Paul. But yeah, as long as we can play his last final sets out with reduced errors, then we should be able to snitch this one. Kick to come here from Callum Smithson, and he's missed that. Scores remain Stanley 14, Stanley Rangers 12. Completions needed from Stanley. Stanley Rangers will need the ball in Stanley half.
I think that's the $1 million question there, Mick. Can Stanley keep hold of the ball, retain, be patient, complete the sets, and then defend the rest of the game out? Only a few minutes to go, as Paul said. Hopefully we can see Stanley hold on and take a well-needed victory.
Personally, I think it was a bit of a dubious decision from the referee there. Looked to bounce on the line. Fielded by Josh Tate, and he's awarded Stanley the penalty on the halfway line. Stanley under pressure here, which they didn't need. Danny Grice onto Richard Catley. Ackroyd at acting half, comes on the blind side to Liam Crawley. He's wrapped up by Callum Smithson, Adam Bent, and Josh Turner. Rob Hartley charging the ball on. He's wrapped up by Jack Sykes, knocks the ball on, much to the pleasure of the Stanley crowd and the Stanley players. Stanley Rangers coach tearing his hair out. Now that's turned into a penalty to Stanningley for chelping. Brad Cox charges the ball in. Josh Tate takes the ball in on his own. Stanley shape seems to have shrunk. Everyone crowded round the play of the ball. Josh Turner takes the ball in. Good hit from Rob Hartley. Takes him to ground. Coops away from the acting half. Tom Kemp pushing through. Decided to keep hold, and rightly so. Liam Crawley with the tackle there. Callum Smithson puts a kick in. Pushes it dead. Is it going to hold up? No, Jamie Bell watches it nicely into dead. Tap on a 20.
I think my standout player today for Stanningley has definitely been Brad Cox. He's had an absolutely fantastic game. Solid defence. Plenty of yards going forward. And let's see how it pans out for the end.
One of his best in a black and white shirt, Paul?
Yeah, well, he's probably one of the unsung heroes, really. He's a bit of he's a grafter. Never does anything, making a big step up. Gone into pack a lot of times. And put himself out there with these big forwards from Stanley Rangers.
Yeah, very much so. He's been a leader out there for me. He seems to have really stepped up his game. A bit of aggression thrown in there for good measure. Controlled aggression seems to have done really well for me. But very much a standout player in the black and white. Mick, as we're approaching the final whistle, Stanley back in possession after a forward pass from Stanley Rangers. Just a few final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think it's been an arm wrestle from could have gone either way, as the old saying goes. It's been a good tussle between these two very good teams. Both desperate to get the first win of the season. Both coming off some games where they both feel like they could have won. Silly little errors like that. Much went the way of Stanley's in the first half, giving penalties away left, right, and centre. Now, when it comes down to the business end of the game, Stanley Rangers have started giving little ones away too. Brad Cox again on the ball. Lawrence Bell.
So it's time for the man of the match, sponsored by the Jug and Barrel on Stanley Road. Fantastic establishment, fine selection, fine range of wines, beers and spirits. Excellent entertainment, particularly on a Sunday night, if you don't mind a hangover on Monday. Mick, your decision on the man of the match, please.
I think for Stanley, the man of the match, for his work rate, both in attack and defence, I've got to give it to Brad Cox. And for Stanley Rangers, I can't look any further than the number 10, Alistair McMaster. He's put some great work in both in attack and defence. Always been a handful, and he's had a great game. Closing minutes, Tom Kent taking the ball in, a couple of metres out. Sean Cooper acting half, out to Jack Sykes, finds him on his own, runs it back across. High tackle attempt from Liam Crawley, finally brought down on the line. Out wide, Sean Cooper has a dig on his own. He's brought down by John Nunnins. Out to Adam Ben, turns it back onto the blind side again. Everyone favouring this. Tries to get past Liam Crawley, but he's brought to ground. Coops in acting half, wide ball out to Callum Smithson. Has a little think, tries to have a go on his own. He's wrapped up by Stanley Rangers man of the match. Little kick in there from Sean Cooper, well fielded by Billy Cooper, Danny Deuce, should I say. Nice shift out onto the far side from Stanley Rangers. He tries putting a little kick in straight into Brad Cox's hands. Not what you need at this late stage when you're chasing a game. Brad Cox gets up gingerly. Stanley trying to slow the player down. Stanley Rangers out of the blocks. Alistair McMaster with a tackle. Jack Brown in at first man, steps to first defender, pokes his nose through, finally brought down. Jack Sykes has another go. Generally beats the first man, the ball's gone down, play on. Stanley Rangers, Rob Hartley sweeps the ball up. Turnover. All the fans looking at their watch, wishing for the final whistle. Great defence there from Liam Duffy. Little pat on the back there from Josh Tate. Richard Catley takes the ball in for Stanley Rangers, runs into a black and white wall of Brad Cox. Nice little ball out onto the far right. Straight in. Seems to be a bit of confusion with what's going on there. Stanley Rangers player seems to have offloaded into a Stanley player's hand, and the referee's called a knock on.
Yeah, so just wait for this scrum to be formed. I think the coaches will be happy with the 2 points, of course they will. Plenty to work on over the training ground over the coming weeks. Hopefully we can see much better quality of performance, but like I say, it's the result that's important today, Mick.
Yeah, definitely. I think that first win of the season is always a good one, especially when you've come off a few close games. They haven't been beat by many during the season, but that first win's always a pleasure. Gives the lads a bit of confidence, especially with a depleted team. 1 or 2 players away in Dusseldorf, drunk. So it's always good to get that first win, and there it comes.
Yeah, that's the final whistle. We're just going to head down to pitch side now, try and grab a couple of minutes with some of the players.
The full-time score there is Stanley 14, Stanley Rangers 12. Bringing up Stanley's first win of the season. We're going to get onto the pitch and try and speak to 1 or 2 of the guys. Coach, we'll grab one of the coaches. Coaching staff, Dan Beryl is one of the coach. If you don't mind joining us for a second, Dan. Hard fought win today. Bit of an arm wrestle. What are your thoughts on grabbing the first victory of the season?
It's always good to get a victory, but no matter how we get it, I thought we clinical. That's one word we're definitely not in our dictionary today. Thought we were very poor, just core skills, but we're missing 10 today, so it was good, that we can come, still get a win, still get a team together really with the depth in squad we've got. So all credit to the boys. Tough and down.
Yeah, definitely. It was mentioned earlier that we had 1 or 2 players missing, and like you say, we've got a few players to come back next week. But obviously, with a winning performance, I think you've got to have a look at maintaining that team and keeping a few players in that jersey. Do you think?
Yeah, definitely. The lads that have put their hands up today, I thought they're outstanding. I thought there's some really good performances. Brad Cox was outstanding. Loz and TK. They're the only 2 props that we had on the pitch. Everybody else had to, fill in for a spot for us. So it was good performance by them. The lads that have got to come back, they've got to try and grab the shirt back off them now. These are in the driving seat.
Definitely. Thanks for your time, Dan. Over to you, Matty, for his final thoughts.
Yeah, we'd just like to thank everyone. It's obviously our inaugural edition of Stanley Television Digital Live. Always might not have been 100%. Bear with us while we're learning. Hope a few of the lads that are around the world that obviously can't be with us have enjoyed being able to view the game live. And for those that are yet to watch it, you're not in for much of a treat, but the commentary's alright. Thanks to Mick for his time, of course. Great commentary. Thanks to Chip. Just going to grab one final word with. What would you say? A late selection. Made himself available this morning. Scott Pascal. Scott, your thoughts on the game? How do you think that went?
Personally, not very well for me, but put a shirt on for lads, so they did well. Go out to win out, so fair play to them.
Yeah, you're not obviously a fan of training. Come, put a shirt on, graft. We need some of those people from time to time. Always good to get the win. Not the best of situations, not the best of performances, but 2 points is 2 points. What are your plans for this evening, Scott?
Don't know, I'll probably get off my head somewhere.
Fantastic. That's story of the weekend for Stanley, I think. Well deserved beer for some. a beer for some. Please join us for next week. From us here, thank you very much.
Good start.